Tonight, WHAS 11 News is uncovering more of the amazing story behind this amazing photograph that is now on display inside the new Omni Hotel. The picture says a lot. Two African-American performers with their own show on WHAS radio at a time of segregation, at a time when Louisville was still run by former Confederate officers. So we asked a local historian and author to take his best shot for us at solving this mystery.
Louisville and its vibrant music scene of the 20s and 30s. We rivaled New Orleans with jazz, rivaling Memphis in the blues. And in our city, a big contributor to all of that in the age of segregation, African-American artists who have their own radio shows on a fledgling WHAS.
Louisville was actually one of the first places where the black and white musicians union merged. And musicians have always said Louisville's a money town. This is where I found it, but it's in jazz books and stuff.
Historian Michael Jones, in his book Louisville Jug Bands, traces the unique musical history and personalities of our city, like this amazing film from the 1930s of Whistler's Jug Band performing in Shelby County.
Louisville has a history of like interracial bands and things. When I look back in the history, I find a lot of like black and German bands.
And then there were the Ballard chefs.
When the Bingham started WHAS, they thought it was like going to be like a public service, and they didn't want advertising. But then Ballard and Ballard Flour was like, you know, can we advertise?
When that photograph was taken in 1931, WHAS was just 9 years old, and it was located right here in the Landmark building on Liberty Street. Ironically, just across the street from the Omni.
So let's go back to this photo. I spotted it as part of the tremendous collage of history put together by the new Omni Hotel, on display in the library lounge, and already a favorite with visitors who stand and gaze.
I think that's what we're trying to showcase in the hotel, is the talents of a very diverse population.
On the wall, scenes of the city's African Americans and whites side by side. The photos are pulled from U of L's digital archives and the Filson. The Omni team started on the project 2.5 years ago.
I believe they came 6 or 7 times to the city before cutting that deal with the city, to making sure that we really understood the history of where Louisville has been.
But the WHAS photo fascinated me for obvious reasons. The original photo at the U of L Digital Archives does not identify the two performers. So Michael Jones went to work for us. His best guess on the man?
Alfred Boyd, he lived on Walnut Street. And he played in mostly like jazz combos.
Alfred was also known as Red, and the woman at the piano.
When I talked to U of L, they did say that there was a lady who occasionally played with the Ballard chefs, and her name was Kathleen Betson.
Ballard and Ballard was located at Campbell and Broadway, paid the performers, and was proud of them. We have these photos today because they were ordered by the company. These two, though, were lost to time and the archives until now, prominently back on display thanks to the Omni, front and center, performing for your imagination. So what would radio listeners have possibly heard at the time?
Probably would play some early gospel, which would be very blues influence, and things like Take My Hand, Precious Lord.
Precious Lord, take my hand, keep me on, let me stand.
And when he was still with us, I used to often ask Milton Metz to tell me, and he used to tell me that nothing was ever recorded on the early days of WHAS radio, so everything was performed live. These performers that you saw there tonight actually kept the station on the air. The folks at U of L's Archives and Special Collections Division also helped us on this one, finding the connection to the Ballard and Ballard Flour Company, and that was the key clue.